Your mum was right. It is because of that damn phone. And as much as I want to say the phone is honestly one of the greatest inventions or devices we actually have, just due to its versatility and improvements it has on our life, it offers you access to information that you could pretty much use at any given point, anywhere, or at least mostly anywhere you can get signal. You can talk to anyone around the entire world now. You can watch stuff constantly for as long as you want. It's crazy. You look at this maybe like 50 years ago and you'd think a dream device could do all of those things. Crazy. I mean, even the ability to open up like a business on your phone nowadays, it's crazy. But there's a big shadow behind it, and that's something that isn't really spoken too much about because it's so normal, right? It's so normal to have a phone, to have a device where you could do so much stuff on. Equally, there's always going to be the other side to it. There's going to be the side that it's like underneath the iceberg. It's the hidden stuff we don't really see, and I don't think it's gonna really be talked about for quite a while. Mainly because of just the overall convenience that it offers us, and obviously we're still in pretty early stages of like digital mobile devices now. I mean, how many years has it really been? Maybe like 20 tops. And obviously, as the technology continues to improve, so does the convenience that it offers you. You know, phones in the future will probably, I mean, they're already implementing AI stuff to it. So imagine taking that a step further with so many different kind of features on it. It makes our lives a lot better and more convenient, which means we can focus more on our normal lives. But again, at what cost is this gonna come at? So let's talk about it. Because at this point, your phone is like an extension of yourself. At this point, because it's so normal. I mean, everyone has one in their pockets nowadays. It's, I guess, a part of us now, but we also have to understand that it's a tool that is meant to help us, not to control us. And it's really easy to get to the stage where it is in the controlling sense, mainly because of all of the distractions and the ability to have so many features that it takes us away from ourselves. It takes us away from our own brains. We don't have to think as much. It's easier not to think as much. It's easier not to feel as much. You can just drown your emotions in a whole bunch of YouTube shorts, and it's seen as pretty normal. You can procrastinate and watch a bunch of different gaming videos, maybe like this. But again, it's not exactly the best thing in the world, right? At least if you're someone that kind of wants to understand yourself a little bit better, maybe have higher levels of energy and potentially even boosting your immune system to some extent, because if you're maybe sitting inside all day with your phone, then, or at least maybe you might be depressed, maybe you might be sitting under the sheets, not getting enough sun exposure, maybe you're not eating as well. It's really easy to fall back on something that's way more convenient. And I know for a lot of you out there, it might be hard to even get out of bed sometimes because of the convenience of, for example, short form content or just general things you can do on your phone. First thing you do in the morning, what do? You check your emails, you check your feed, you check all your notifications. But is that really a good thing though? Just some food for thought. Because and as much as you might even know it yourself, do you practice it? And that's why it's really important to practice that sort of mindfulness in the morning for even like 5 minutes or so. It ain't even gotta be nothing crazy. Because once you get into the routine of like understanding how much the phone can take you away from yourself, you now have a little bit more ability to kind of control it and to not let it get out of hand. Imagine waking up and you just appreciate the world outside for just a second, or maybe you hit a few stretches, or maybe you might even hit a few push-ups or something. I don't know, it could be anything, but it would be a lot better than the stresses of notifications. Maybe you're expecting something, maybe you're whatever it may be. It's not exactly the best way to start your day, right? Saying that only if you have it out of control. And I guess in a sense we've trained solitude for stimulation, constant stimulation. And if the tech keeps on advancing, imagine how much better things like AI would do to tailor content even better towards your needs. It will start to know you even better than you know yourself. And that's where I think we've gotten a bit too far. So it's better that you make the decision to make healthier habits with your cellular device screen time and stuff like that now rather than later, because again, it's gonna be way harder to even catch a break if things develop even further, which most likely they will, right? Like, you could probably easily, if you were just confined in a room and you just had your phone, you could easily just spend the entire day on your phone. But imagine what kind of impact that has on your emotional health, your maybe psychological health, even your body, your posture. You know, you're just stuck looking down upon a screen in one fixed position. It's like hibernating, but just unhealthy. I'm not saying don't use a phone or anything like that. Of course you're going to. It's a tool. It's a very, very, very useful tool, but there's got to be limits. And the thing is, nowadays as well, especially with a lot of content that's out there are probably a lot of saturated content that you might even be watching that's you've just seen over and over. And this is something you can just observe with just general trends, right? Maybe a sound might go viral, you know, like one of those trendy sounds that you might hear on like TikTok or something like that, and you'll just see the exact same video, just different people over and over and over. It's not exactly the best kind of stimulation you can give to your mind, right? So yeah, it kind of takes you away from your mind. It takes you away from who you are as a person when obviously done in excess, and probably in a lot of cases potentially even causing some kind of attention deficit issues nowadays, because remember, you're abusing your hormones and your nervous system constantly. Remember, you're stimulating your internal system when you're watching this kind of stuff. And I said in a few previous videos as well, you're actually not relaxing when you're watching this kind of stuff. You're kind of gambling in a sense, because you don't know what's coming next. And obviously our kind of biological reactions, by the way, I'm not no scientist, don't hold me to that, but yeah, your biological reactions is going to be set towards only a certain amount of time. We haven't adjusted towards the screen or anything like that, so imagine what kind of impulses and stuff like that is kind of being triggered every time you're watching something that's quite stimulating, especially when content that might be quite harmful, that might not be promoting a good message, or you know, it kind of gets your emotions heightened, which again, there's a really addictive element in that, because it makes you feel something. And because it's kind of doing this over and over and over, you're just gonna fizzle out. You're gonna be numb to the real life, because the real life might be pretty mundane for you. And that's not what we want in the slightest. Because life is beautiful, life is great. There's a lot to do, there's a lot to really appreciate, there's a lot to have that we don't really put into appreciation. Not nearly as enough as we should. But yeah, like literally, just think about it, right? You can go from sending a message straight to watching something. Like in the matter of a second, all you have to do is just swipe on the bottom right of your screen, and you're there. Like, imagine the kind of level of focus you could do. Like, you might even be at work or something like that, and you're just doing something at the same time. And we're not really designed to multitask, actually. Believe it or not, you can actually look this up online. But we can only focus on one task at a time. Obviously, the adaptability to focus on two, you can only handle one at a time, but at a really, really fast pace. Yeah, you can obviously say that, but does that mean it's healthy for you? Remember, we're putting more pressure on your nervous system and maybe your neurotransmitters and all of that stuff. That isn't really too good for you. And then you're probably wondering why you're burnt out, why you don't feel that kind of those feelings you felt like as a kid. From a hormonal standpoint, potentially, yeah, it's because of overstimulation and all of that stuff. I don't know where this man's going. I guess he's too hot.
I do.
And the thing is, I'm not really bashing content or anything like that as well, because there's a lot of good things out there. There's a lot of positive things you can add to your feed, and there's a lot of people who are doing genuinely really good things with this stuff. It's just that it's really easy not to kind of follow those kind of things, because it's not as stimulating as the kind of fear-based content, if you will. Like, you're probably more likely to watch someone maybe get hit or something like that, or an accident, rather than someone who's, I don't know, maybe giving out food to the homeless. So create that balanced kind of routine. Maybe start with small steps, like, I don't know, 5 minutes as soon as you wake up without the phone. Maybe when you can kind of consciously realize, oh, what am I actually doing with my life, when you're kind of in the cycle of a binge watching kind of activity you're doing, and think, you know what can I actually do that's a bit more proactive, that isn't really going to take me too much away from myself, and is just basically a better alternative. Also think, what do you used to do as a kid that you don't do anymore? because sometimes that level of excitement is what's kind of holding you back. Like, for example, a lot of people, they played sports when they were younger and they don't anymore. You can get back into that. You can find clubs, activities you could do. Maybe you could just start training for that kind of stuff because it's fun, all of that good stuff. Because again, it's all about balance, but it's really hard to kind of do more than one thing at a time. You might have low energy, it might just be more comfortable. And I don't blame you for even being in a thing like that. But it's imperative that we kind of start to learn that, okay, enough is enough. Because you have to understand, this kind of thing can really affect you in every kind of way. Mental, physical, psycho, maybe. So yeah, man, maybe the boomers do have a point. But they don't really explain it in a very, in a great fashion though, do they? Unfortunately. They do it in a very condescending way, like they're better. But nowadays, a lot of boomers actually, they be hella addicted to Facebook. Who's using Facebook now? And they be watching like some outdated memes and stuff like that. You just gotta like kind of fake laugh along with it, you know, because it's outdated. You've seen it like 50 years ago. So they're just about in as much of a predicament as we may be in. So yeah, I'm gonna end the video there. I appreciate you guys for watching, and yeah, we've got a new mic soon. Should be on the way. I just don't know when it's gonna come exactly, but as soon as it comes, yeah, man, better audio quality for sure. But yeah, peace and blessings to you all. We'll see you in the next one.